Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki. I am a mama of a toddler and I'm currently 33 weeks pregnant with our rainbow baby girl. And I want to talk to you guys about the 3 things that I find most important to have when you are thinking about getting pregnant or you are pregnant and dealing with emetophobia. As I spoke a little bit about in the previous video, emetophobia is the irrational fear, immense fear, phobia, immense fear of vomiting. I am sorry, I would like to apologize if you hear any noises. That is actually my bunny again. It's running around the house right now. And I'm in my son's playroom, so it loves all the toys that are here, so it likes to just go crazy. Number 1 is having a very supportive partner. That for me is my husband. We have been together for 13 years. When we got pregnant with our first, we had already been together for 13 years. So of course, by that time, he knows me very well. He knows how my fear affects me and my life and my day-to-day. And he knew walking up to that day, or to that decision of getting pregnant, that this was going to be something that was going to be very difficult for me and I was going to need a lot of support. His support is the most important one out of the other 2 points I'm going to make, because this is the person that is going to be with you while you're pregnant, dealing with the morning sickness, and also the person that's going to have to deal with you raising the children and having to go through whatever sicknesses the kids go through, you know. So you need somebody that's very supportive and truly understands what your fear is, does not ridicule you, does not belittle you, and understands what it is that you precisely need in those moments of panic or anxiety or fear that you're going through during the first trimester. My husband is a very calm, laid-back character. I am very explosive and very out there and very talkative. We are the 2 complete opposites, but thankfully that actually is a good thing, because he can bring me back down. He can calm me down with his laid-backness. My husband has always understood my fear since the very beginning of our relationship, but I don't think he truly knew how deep that fear went until a couple of years into our marriage, when my parents had gone out of the country and we were looking after my 3 younger siblings. During that week, lucky us, we got stuck with dealing with them getting the stomach virus. And let's just say that week was something else. It was something else. And that was a week of him really truly understanding just how bad this fear can change the person that I am, from a normal person to a completely irrational, fear-induced, almost frozen in fear type of person. This is how this fear affects me psychologically. Thankfully, he was able to kind of like, you know, step into what he needed to do, and he was amazing. He took care of my youngest brother throughout the night when he was vomiting, and he took care of my sister, who also got sick with it during that time as well. She was a little older. She was already in her teen years, so she was able to like kind of take care of herself. But my husband was able to step in and really take care of all of them. My other brother, thankfully, did not get anything, but he also helped my husband take care of the situation. During this time, it actually shocked him a little bit to see how I just disconnected almost from the world. I went and I just hid in a corner of the bed in one bedroom where none of my siblings had gone into before. During that time, had not gone into during that time, and I just hid under the covers, and I would shake and I would cry, and I had moments of, the only way I can explain it is complete moments of irrationality. A normal person does not stop eating. A normal person does not stop drinking water. A normal person doesn't just hide in the room for days, and as they're walking by, if I had to walk, you know, by the bedrooms of my siblings, doesn't like cover their mouth and stuff. A normal person doesn't do that. But a person with this crazy fear does. And he saw it for the first time. And I think that was the time where he truly understood that, okay, I've heard she's afraid of vomiting, but no, like, she truly does have this phobia that can take over her life. So I think that kind of played a little bit of a part into preparing him for pregnancy. Thankfully, I would like to announce that pregnancy was nothing compared to that stomach virus week. I was not secluded. I did not freeze in fear. It's different. It's so different. And that's something I want to make so clear. Pregnancy sickness, it's so different than that fear that you have when someone has a virus around you, because it didn't stop me from living my life. Yes, it was uncomfortable. Yes, it was annoying, but it didn't stop me from living my life. And I don't know if it's because whatever reason you either, oh, I'm nauseous because there's a baby growing in me and that excitement is still in there somewhere, or I don't know what it is, but it was so much easier. Pregnancy was so much easier than that 1 week that I experienced with my siblings. So having a very supportive partner who truly understands what this fear can transform you into, and that will be there to comfort you and to reassure you and to run out of the bed really quickly to get you either, I don't know, Zofran or a lemon in the middle of the night, and not judge you and just be very, very caring to you during that time, is so important to have when you are thinking or are pregnant and dealing with emetophobia. The second thing that I find most important to have during this time in your life is certain people in your life that can support you in certain moments. And what I mean by that is, for me, for example, was my mother, my sister, and my best friend. They were the people that I would call in the middle of the day with questions, and it's because they were most experienced in what I was going through, not in the emetophobia part, but in the pregnancy part. My mother had 6 kids. My sister at that time had 2 and was pregnant with a 3rd, and then my best friend was actually pregnant at the same time as I was. My mother is someone that, for me, when it comes to pregnancy, is full of wisdom. So I would call her whenever I would feel any little crazy little symptom, whether it was the watery mouth that I would have, or just to talk to her so that she can ease me down. She actually didn't throw up with any of my other siblings except for me. When my mom was pregnant with me, she threw up, but she didn't throw up with any of my other siblings. Thankfully, my mom obviously has been dealing with me forever with this crazy fear, so she has her ways of knowing how to calm me down, and that was very vital during this time for me. My sister as well. My sister is a little bit different than my mom, only because my sister's more like straightforward, more to the point, more like, oh, it's fine kind of attitude, different than my mom's. So when I would have those moments of like panic, and I would think, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen, like I'm gonna get sick for sure at this moment, I would call my sister and I would tell her everything that I was feeling, and she would just be like, oh, you know what, they call me China, by the way, that's my family's nickname to me. So she's like, you know what, China, you're fine. If you have not thrown up in the past 5 minutes, you're not gonna throw up. So having my sister during those moments was also very important to me and helped me a lot during my pregnancy with symptoms. Also, not only just the nausea part, but I also had a couple of bleeding complications during the first trimester with my first. And my sister also had those sort of complications with her first. So I was able to talk to her in those moments where I was scared or wasn't sure or was nervous as to what was going on in my body. She was able to kind of help me out and tell me what to do. Like, okay, well, yeah, now you should call the doctor, or just giving me advice and anything. And that was very helpful. The third person is my best friend. She was pregnant at the same time as I was at the time. Yes, it was on purpose. And we're actually pregnant now at the same time again, and yes, it was on purpose again. She was a couple of weeks ahead of me with my first, so knowing that I had someone that was going through this journey alongside me was very comforting, I didn't really reach out to her in a lot of like the nausea parts or like the emetophobic fears. But when I did ask her about watery mouth, because she had that a lot, but unfortunately for her, she actually had the hyperemesis gravidium. I do want to mention that she is someone that vomits easily throughout her whole life. I'm someone, like I've mentioned in my previous video, that I've only thrown up thus far once in my life when I was 11. So whenever I would get nauseous or I would tell her, no, I'm kind of scared of this or that, having to do with the vomiting, she would always remind me of, Nikki, I've never seen you vomit. You're gonna be fine. You're not me. She would always tell me that, you're not me. Believe me, your pregnancy is gonna be way easier than mine. And it was, thankfully. This time around, also, she's someone that I contact with a lot because my pregnancy sickness with this baby was a little bit different than it was with my first. And she has a little girl and she's carrying a little girl. This is my first time carrying a little girl. And there's the myth that goes around saying that when you carry a girl, your pregnancy sickness can be a little bit more intense, which I have found to be true. She has helped me out with letting me know that I'm not her. My body processes things differently than she does, and that I'm going to be okay. The third thing that I find most important to have during this time is a very supportive provider. Do your research on your doctors. Don't just go by the person that you've been seeing for years, so you just think that that's your only option. If you have good insurance, and hopefully you do, find yourself a doctor that will understand your fear. Even if they've never heard the word emetophobia before, but when you explain it to them, you can see that they receive it and they go, okay, I got your back, I get it, don't worry, I got you. Go with the person that's gonna make you feel comfortable. Even if you don't have insurance, do your best to try to find the most supportive provider that you can. I actually went to 3 different gynecologists and I ended up tossing the first 2 just by the way that I saw how they interacted with me the moment I mentioned my fear, and I went with the 3rd. He wasn't perfect. There's certain things that I can complain about with him having to do with like other things that have nothing to do with my emetophobia. But when it came to my emetophobia, the reason why I chose him was because the moment that I mentioned to him, I'm emetophobic, and he goes, what is that? And I go, I have an extreme fear of vomiting. He goes, oh, I don't like vomiting either. Don't worry, I get it. And his bedside manner was amazing as well. He from the beginning let me know, hey, if you want me to prescribe you Zofran, you got it. It was my first pregnancy, so I was kind of afraid of taking anything in case of it like harming the baby, and I guess first time mom fears alongside it. So I decided to kind of steer clear from the Zofran. He still gave me the prescription, told me to fill it, have it in my cupboard just for my own peace of mind, in case I had a moment of panic that I can go and just take it without any fear. And I love that he was the one to speak to me and tell me, just fill the prescription. If you need it, you need it. If you don't, you don't. But it'll give you some peace of mind. The fact that he offered that to me showed to me that he was trying to understand my fear and trying to make my pregnancy as smooth as it possibly could. He saw the actual fear in my face and didn't belittle me for it or make me feel silly about it. The other thing that was very important to me that he did was that he didn't like birth plans, which is one of the downsides of him. But in the birth plan that he did truly respect was making sure that during my labor and delivery that I was being administered antiemetics during the entire process. He made it like almost a #1 priority in the list of things to be done with me. When I got to the hospital after my water broke, the first thing he did was tell the nurse to hook me up with a Zofran drip, and he said to keep it going the entire time, and they did. I ended up with a C-section, and he made sure that before I went to get the anesthesia, the spinal block, that they pumped me with a big dose of antiemetics, because some people get nauseous, some people vomit with that kind of anesthesia. I didn't get nauseous at all. during any of the procedure. I was scared, I was nervous. It's a very intense moment, but the nausea was nowhere to be found. I didn't get sick, none of that. Thankfully, because he made sure that my body had antiemetics running through them. And the next day, when they tell you to get up and start walking around, the first time I did that, my blood pressure like went down really low, and that caused me to get very nauseous. The nurses came in, obviously, because it got dangerously low, and the first thing that one of the nurses did was grab one of the blue bags, you know, the sickness bags. And the moment I saw that, I was like, no, I can't look at that. So I'm like, no, take it away from me. And my husband's like, please don't show her that. And the nurse threw the bag across the room, and I asked her, can I please take one of the Zofrans that my doctor had prescribed me? And she's like, no, I can't give you anything unless he lets you have it right now. So she calls him up in their phone. I could hear him on the phone, what felt like he was yelling at her, and I kind of feel bad for that. You can tell he was kind of upset, telling her it was in my chart. So if I asked for it, to give it to me, no questions asked, and to have me on them nonstop for like the next day or two while the anesthesia works its way out of my body. And I could see the nurse's face kind of like going like, oh yes, I'm sorry, like okay. I still feel bad. I apologize to her. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's a fear, I know it's silly, I didn't mean to get you in trouble. And she's like, no honey, like they were super sweet, they were really great. But that's the kind of doctor that you need on your side, someone that's gonna fight for you when it comes to your fear and make you feel secure, that's gonna make you feel safe. So I got lucky in that aspect when it came to having a provider that really understood me and didn't make me feel silly for having this fear. Sorry if things look a little bit different. I actually had to stop the video and run because my son kind of woke up from his nap and he needed to be shushed back down. So anyway, those are the 3 things that I find most important to have when you're pregnant and dealing with emetophobia. There's just one last thing I want to talk about, and those are prenatal vitamins. Prenatal vitamins can actually cause you to feel even more sick during your first trimester, can actually intensify the pregnancy sickness. So having a prenatal vitamin that is going to not only benefit you and your baby, but actually not cause you to get nauseous is very important to someone like me with emetophobia. With my first, I took the Flintstones with iron vitamins. My doctor and my perinatalist both were fine with it. Everything was good with him, everything was good with me, my blood test, everything was fine when I was taking these. So do not be afraid to take children's vitamins. Just make sure it's the one with iron so that you get a little bit of that iron, and eat well when you can. Eat a very good, healthy diet, lots of greens. I'm someone that really likes salads and greens and spinach. I'm that person that likes things that taste like grass, so that really wasn't a problem for me. Now with this pregnancy, I started off with the Flintstones vitamins as well, but as I started doing a little bit more research, I found these, the Garden of Life Vitamin Code Raw Prenatal, and it's a raw whole food multivitamin. And the awesome thing about this that I read the most was that women were claiming that they didn't have any nausea, any sickness, even when they took it without any food. It's all over the reviews on Amazon or any other part that they have reviews on this vitamin. You will read that a lot, that it doesn't give you nausea. And I think the main reason for that is that it has ginger in it. Where is it? It has ginger root in it. So it actually helps you with your morning sickness. And so far, I'm really loving these. I haven't had any stomach issues at all. Bunny. I haven't had any stomach issues at all with this vitamin, and it's been very easy on the body. It has actual folate instead of folic acid, which I love, and everything is just very natural about it. But that's like a plus side, besides the fact that it doesn't cause me to get nauseous or anything at all. And I'm really loving them. So look into these if you are thinking about getting pregnant or are pregnant and looking for a vitamin that's not going to further upset your stomach than it already is. this one or this one worked great for me. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful in any way, please give it a thumbs up. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, as I have more content coming up involving more of my family and not just me and my own crazy sicknesses. And I would love to hear from you guys, so leave me a comment below telling me a little bit about yourself and your journey with pregnancy and what worked for you and what didn't. For the other women who are looking at this video for precisely wanting to get pregnant and dealing with this crazy emetophobia, can also get your input into what worked for you and giving them the hope that they can definitely do this and get through a pregnancy and have children, even though we are burdened with this crazy fear. Thank you guys for watching again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.